Your awesome long hair. It looks fantastic. Welcome to the October 27th Rec Advisory Committee meeting. I see 12 people on, so I'm hoping I have everybody on the screen. It looks like I do. Give me one moment. Just want to make sure I have...
And you do have a quorum, Steph.
I was just looking. We do have a quorum tonight, which is great. Just to be able
and this is Connor's first official meeting.
Oh, don't you steal my thunder, Greg Busson.
All right, sorry.
So as we always do, I need to announce that as chair of the Rec Advisory Committee, due to the state emergency declared by government, the governor, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, in its accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Public notice of this meeting was posted on the town website and on the bulletin board from the town offices at 10 Front Street. As provided in the public notice, the public may access the meeting online and via telephone. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. And let's start the meeting by taking a roll call of attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there's anyone in the room with you during this meeting and who that person is as well. Thank you so much. We'll start with our roll call. I don't see our vice chair on yet, so I will move forward to our board. Jen Harrington?
Here, and I'm currently alone in the room.
Great, thanks. Mike Whistler?
I'm here and alone in the room.
Val Cassaway?
Hi, I'm here and currently alone in the room.
Dan Provo?
I'm here and I have the room to myself.
Excellent. And we have our newest member of the team, Connor Berry. For those of you that don't know Connor is actually the chair of the Communications Committee, and he has joined our open spot on the Rec Advisory Committee. I'm really excited to have him. Also, Connor and his new bride, Lucy, defied the odds and were able to successfully get married about 3 weeks ago. So congratulations to you and Lucy. I just am so happy for you guys. You're such an awesome couple. I'm so excited. And we're so excited to have you guys in town and excited to have you on the board. So welcome to the committee.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We also have joining us as well our Parks and Rec director, Greg Busson. Greg, you're here by yourself in the room, or?
I am, and you may hear my cat again.
Okay, so, yes, we know. And our assistant director, Melissa Roy.
I'm here. My family's here. I'm trying to get my headphones to work. So please excuse me while I try to figure this out. I apologize.
Okay, sounds great. No problem at all. And Parks and Rec, Dave Tovey.
Yes, I'm here and I'm alone in the room.
Excellent. And our select board representative, Miss Molly Cowan.
Hi, everybody. I'm here and also alone in the room.
Excellent. Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming together. This should be a pretty brief meeting. We don't have too much on the agenda, but certainly open to entertain anything that anybody needs to discuss along the way as well. We're going to call this meeting to order. And to start with, I know that Greg had emailed the minutes out to everybody. I don't know if you had the opportunity to take a peek at them yet and read through them. If you did have the opportunity to look through them, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve those.
I would make a motion to approve them. I read them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Mike. And Jen, did you second it?
I did, Val.
Hi, Val. Oh, and I apologize. I was remiss in also mentioning and recognizing Joanna Bartel as well. Hi, Joanna.
Hello. I'm here and my husband and daughter are downstairs. So.
Excellent. Sounds great. Good to see you, hon. All right. So we have an approval for the minutes. So I'm going to do a roll call to yay or nay on approving the minutes. Mike?
Yay.
Connor?
Yay.
Val?
Yay.
Dan?
Yay.
And Jen?
Yay.
Excellent. So we've approved the minutes of the last meeting, which was, I have to get the date on that for Joanna. One sec. One moment. It's in there. Greg, do you have that date? I don't know why I don't have it in front of me.
It was September 29th.
Thank you. Thank you. So Joanna, it's September 29th, approval of the minutes. And with that approval, we can actually move right on to program updates with fall recap and winter updates of sports and programs.
All right, I will start this off since we last met, and I'm going to pass it over to Dave in a minute too, because kudos to Dave. Dave organized the whole fall sports. It went very well. As you all know, we did have a hiccup earlier in the about after our last meeting. Everyone is aware of the COVID exposures from the rinks. It affected our programs. We shut down for approximately most of the programs for 1 week, some with 2, but we're back up and running. We extended them, and all in all, it was a successful fall season, but the real heroes are both David and Melissa. They do our enrichment programs. I mean, they're knee deep. David's doing 5 classes. Melissa's doing 3. And she organizes Legos when she's not teaching them. So she makes my job easier when I actually teach a bunch of 1st and 2nd graders Legos, or we do Lego challenges. So it's been a really successful fall, we feel. Our protocols are working, and I think it's a good step forward as we move forward in this pandemic.
That's great. Anything you wanted to add, Melissa and Dave, for fall program recap?
Melissa, did you want to go first? All right. So yeah, basically just like what Greg said, although we're still in the fall season, we still have a few more weeks left. So everything so far has been going well. We had that one positive hit in one of my after school gym classes. So followed all the protocols with that. Everyone seemed to go along with them really easily. So, unfortunately it's getting colder and it's going to be getting darker out a lot earlier. So we're going to have to eventually start moving inside, which kind of will lead us into probably our next topic, which is winter sports. But all in all, I think fall went really well, and looking forward to send out a survey to everyone who joined us this year.
That's great. Thank you, Dave. Melissa, anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, I never have technical issues, and I'm always on early to make sure there aren't any. So
that's okay. Don't worry. It happens to all of us.
No, I think the same thing that Greg and David have talked about. It's been going really well. The kids that are participating are having a blast and having a lot of fun, and the parents are very thankful. So that's fantastic. We're going to have to really do some brainstorming. Winter brings a whole nother set of challenges that we've got to figure out.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I would definitely like to put out there to Greg, Melissa, and Dave, first and foremost, awesome job on handling that situation of the positive case. I think it was responsibly done. You guys shut things down very quickly. And I also want to compliment UISA for following your lead, jumping in and making sure they shut down soccer for those few days until we found out things were clear. And also softball, the Riptide softball team followed suit, and they didn't have to, but they decided to as well. So thank you to everyone in town who's taken the pandemic so seriously and working together to make sure that we keep things as safe as we can. So great job. I'm really impressed and proud of how you guys handled this. So thank you. Anybody want to mention anything, any discussion, anything you'd like to bring up with the fall season? Okay, so let's move on to that burning topic, winter sports and the winter season coming up. Tell us what's going on there.
Well, First, I'll actually just hand it over to Dave. Dave has been handling a lot of the winter activities. We sent out a survey. If you had not received it and played basketball, we can send it out some more. The deadline is November, but Dave is going to go into details on what we're looking at for different options for basketball and what numbers we've gotten back so far.
Sure. Thanks, Greg. Is there a way for me that I can share my screen? I do see a button down here. So
yeah, you can share.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and try this out? All right.
Perfect.
Everyone can see this.
Sure, there's no personal emails in there.
Yeah, we don't want. All right. So responses. This is our basketball survey. So just so you can all see it, we had 114 responses, which is great. Not too many questions. We were looking for what grade. Pretty typical for us to see this. Grades 3 and 4 is going to be big. Grades 5, 6, 7, 8, and grades 1 and 2. So just like fall sports, we're trying to gauge everyone's interest on would you be willing to still participate if it's once a week. Most of those age grades do meet once a week, although some of our travel teams, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, they would meet twice a week. So just trying to gauge everyone's interest. And at the same time, trying to let everyone know that, there are going to be some new policies and there are going to be some new fees involved. The SAU is going to be charging us $75 per night, and that is a new cleaning fee that we've never had before. So with any program in the gyms, it's definitely going to be more expensive for us. So this question here, health screenings, limited number of spectators, which I think is a big one for indoor programs and sports, mask required for everyone in attendance other than athletes. And, this is kind of no surprise that most people are, comfortable with that. Additional expenses. We had to put in depends on because we weren't really sure at the time what it was going to be. So, pretty typical. We've had 72 people say, yes, they definitely would. And 33 are kind of up in the air. 9, absolutely not. Just like fall sports, trying to gauge everyone's interest on whether or not they would still be interested if it was only skills and drills. Most people, yes, it seems like, people just want their kids to get out, socialize, get a little exercise and have fun. Some people aren't looking for that, which is understandable. And then some were undecided. I did get one call that I will mention. A parent was asking, skills and drills to them is just skills and drills. And I agree with them that games wouldn't be within a skills and drills program. Like it's more strictly drills and you're not playing, one-on-one defense with someone right in their face. So, I do have to say that there isn't an option on this survey, like a comment section or anything like that. So, unfortunately, I think we missed some of that feedback, but I just wanted to mention that too, that I think some families will be uncomfortable with, not that skills and drills is misleading, but I think if we're going to go through with this, that we really need to make it clear that skills and drills does involve scrimmaging against the team that your child is placed on, but you would not be playing against other teams. Now, the next one's interesting because this is just asking, what is your family looking to participate in? And the traditional league, which is an in-house league. So we do this for grades 1, 2, and 3, 4, where they play other teams within the SAU. So most people were looking for that 61. The skills and drills was second with 34. And then you do have some families looking for that travel league. So this is playing against other towns within, Rockingham County or beyond that too. Now, for a travel league, we're kind of shorthanded right now. Last year, we moved from the Lamprey River over to the Rims League, and they are currently full. So there's that. And we did reach back out to the Lamprey, and they do have some teams that are interested. So there is a chance if we want to do a travel league for maybe like our older teams. I wouldn't be surprised if these 19 families are from, grades 5, 6, or 7, 8. So there's a chance that we could do a travel league if we wanted to, but it looks like most are looking for an in-house and or skills and drills type of basketball program. So other than that, there's the $75 fee that the schools are going to be charging us. So we definitely know that it's going to be a little bit more expensive. We're definitely going to be having some new policies and procedures just for, fall sports as well. So this is where we're at with the survey. If anyone wants to, kind of talk about this a little bit more, happy to do that.
Yeah, one of the things that Dave, we're struggling and what we're doing, we're with the numbers escalating in Rockingham County, we're leaning more towards the skills and drills and keeping it in-house. But we also understand, because we've gotten several phone calls and several emails of people asking if we're doing travel. So that's why we had to explore out there and see. I don't know if that's the direction we're going to go, but one with the rims going on. And then it comes down to gym time. How much more are we going to want to spend on gym time? I understand that it's $75 per night. That adds up very quickly. Melissa and I did the quick math just alone in cleaning fees. Most likely if it's 15 kids per team, so there's plenty of kids to do the skills and drills and scrimmaging, you're probably talking a $45 increase on top of what we usually charge.
Per child?
Per child, just for the COVID cleaning. So that is something that is not great. And one thing that we did, we've talked is starting it after winter and doing an abbreviated season. Everyone that's following high school basketball, that is something that's been bantered around, that if they do have a high school basketball this year in New Hampshire, it would start somewhere after the new year and be very abbreviated, doing similar geographical mapping for teams close by. So you're not traveling to bigger cities and everything. And then it's a real struggle, but it's something we should feel fortunate that the SAU is willing to allow us access to their gyms. Most SAUs in New Hampshire are not allowing access to their facilities.
Thank you. Mike?
A couple questions, and I apologize. I haven't answered the survey that you guys sent out, which is great. The survey is great. I haven't answered it. And I think my 7th grader would like to play, and I think I might like to coach. Any chance of CMS gym or EHS gym having any availability?
We do have access to CMS, but that's something we also will need to share with Stratum, because if Stratum is also trying to develop a plan to run basketball, and typically they do basketball for most of the day on Saturday. So it is definitely a possibility, and that's something we would have to coordinate with the other SAU towns. Keep in mind, CMS, Talbot Gym, and Exeter High School being all SAU, they're shared by every community in the SAU. So they're going to have to divide it up. And depending on what the school this year, for the school for volleyball, they wouldn't even allow other people in to use the facility in Exeter High School because they wanted to create that bubble inside of the high school so the volleyball teams could play. So
can I ask a question, Greg? The lack of court space this year as opposed to last year, is that because the rims is filled up and we wouldn't be using the rims and we'd need court space for the older kids? Or what's the reason for that? Because last year between Main Street and Lincoln Street, it was tight, but we were able to manage it.
Yes, it's totally the ripple effect of not being able to have games at the rims, or sending the older kids a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th there, because it was tight. You are right, Steph. And so, and that's something I don't even know if we wanted to go to the rims, because again, they filled up fast. They didn't have this many kids or this many teams signed up in January of last year, let alone So there's a lot of people that are in the same boat that the SAUs are not allowing them in there. So a lot of rec departments have put their teams in there, and some people, and we know some residents from Exeter have taken it upon themselves and entered their own teams into the rims. So it's tough because we don't really, again, it goes back to when we had the project, we don't really have enough gym space.
Now go ahead, Mike.
One more question. Who's playing at Talbot Gym, Greg?
Right now, it's people that Denise had mentioned, Dave. Right, it was East Kingston and possibly Kensington and maybe Brentwood.
Yeah, Talbot's one of those gyms where they try and share it with all the towns in the SAU, where we kind of get priority over like Lincoln Street and Main Street School. I guess it's just a setup that's been how it's been in town for a while now. So Denise also mentioned too that people that put in their applications that they were going by the application date. So anyone that put one in before us, if they allow people in the Talbot, that they'll be taking those over, by date.
Anybody else want to interject or ask any questions or make comments? I have another question as well. So if we're breaking it down and we're looking at the winter season, and so I've been part of twofold through the fall. I've got one child who's playing, or the same child is playing on EYSA, which we've kept it within our same team, done skills and drills, and we've scrimmaged each other at the end, and that's worked fantastic. And then my daughter is also playing for Riptides, where we've played other towns in a travel type setting. And we've been fortunate for it to work out well, but it's also been very dicey and very scary, where we had to cancel a game against Bedford because their cases escalated, and then we had the issue here. So I've seen them both work really successfully. Are you leaning toward one or the other? And from a minimized space perspective, which would probably work out the best or make the most sense?
Skills and drills, keep it internal in the SAU. Unfortunately, that to us seems the best because, again, you could do one night a week. If we went to travel, you'd want to get a practice in. So, I don't know if we'll be able to have enough gym space to do that. And let alone, do we want to now during cold and flu season start playing other communities depending on what their numbers are? Lamprey, just to give the board a reminder, Lamprey was right now. Well, actually, let me rewind. So what we've confirmed so far in Lamprey would be Raymond and Epping. The rest of them are still unknown. I know because the rest of them don't have gym availability. So that's the one thing. But I think if we want to talk about being responsible, is doing the skills and drills. So if we have a hit, we can isolate that one team and not worry about cross-contamination or the spread. So that's something that if this board is comfortable, we can move forward and do some more numbers for that and go to the select board and Molly and propose. That's what we offer. And again, after the holiday. And one thing I would propose is 2 weeks after the holiday, not just immediately following, because one of the things that they said is with the holidays, you should try to prepare to start 2 weeks after in case some exposure happened during the holidays.
What are your thoughts on that, guys? I mean, so like I said, we've been part of both dynamics, and the EYSA skills and drills and scrimmage at the end has worked out awesome. It's been great. We've switched up the teams quite a bit. We've mixed them. It's not ideal. Nothing is right now, but the kids have gotten a ton out of it. And we even broke it down where we had the same age group of girls versus boys. And it's been cutthroat. It's been great actually to watch them all go at it too. So to be able to kind of integrate, but keep it within that age group so that you can monitor or contact trace has worked out really well. question for you, and I don't know if this is something that is possible I don't know if you can require or ask of people. We know that the holidays are going to be interesting because some people are keeping it tight within, their real close family they've been with. Some people are going to invite their families, whatnot. Are we able to require a COVID test before kids start playing 2 weeks after to make sure everybody's clean and clear, because kids typically show to be asymptomatic?
That I would have to check with our legal. I don't know if we can. It's not mandated in the youth sports guidelines, but anyone that has followed hockey, that is the new mandate for hockey, that everyone is going to get tested, which is it's a double-edged sword, because if you've read the news, and Melissa brought this to my attention, so the testing sites in New Hampshire have been overwhelmed since that mandate came out, because all the hockey parents want to get back on the ice, which is understandable. But they had to start turning away hockey parents because they had real actual people that were sick or not feeling well that wanted to get tested. So that's something I can talk to Russ, and maybe that's something, if the select board wants to mandate that we can check into it if we're allowed to do that.
That'd be great, I think. Yeah, Mike.
I think one thing going forward in any sport is no spectators, which is hard for everybody who wants to see their kid play. But I think that's a big thing if you want to avoid not knowing where people came from, etc. No spectators, and let's let our kids play. And I think that's important.
Right, Mike. I think you nailed it. So we've been going through this with, and Greg and everyone knows we've been going through this, and all the other towns have been talking about it, and with after school sports. And the mantra is let kids play. And in order to do that, parents in particular have to accept the new set of rules, of which is you can't come and watch, and you can't go to away games, and this and that. And so I think if we were to find a way for the kids to play, we would have to also, I think, have kind of a parent contract as well, that you're going to be a good parent and that you're going to follow the guidelines and not give people a hard time and not try and sneak in and watch at the fence or whatever, that's part of this agreement, is parents abiding by these rules. The other thing is, I forget what you were talking about, Greg, the timing. Everyone else is definitely going to be starting that after Martin Luther King Day in January. That's, I think, going to be the standard for the region. So I think it's smart to think like that too. I can't see another town or league starting before that 2 weeks after New Year's.
That's a great point. And I think that if we're leaning towards skills and drills as well with the scrimmages, I think it's easier for parents to swallow not seeing their kids play a scrimmage, because it's like practice, and yeah. Dan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to make that same point, Stephanie. And then I think the other thing too is, by then all the schools will be back to some extent in person. So bubbles are going to get bigger exponentially just because of that. So anything we can do to kind of make sure that kids staying in school is the priority. And as hard as it is, sports is going to have to take a second seat to that. And so keeping those bubbles smaller for sports, I think, is the right call.
Anybody else want to interject, add anything, ask any questions? One more question for you too, Greg. I know right now for Lincoln Street, I believe, is Great Bay Kids, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How is that going to affect, and how are we going to manage cleaning between Great Bay Kids and basketball teams coming in? If we need to contact trace too, how are we going to contact trace whether it came from Great Bay Kids or basketball, et cetera?
That's a question I actually have out to Rusty Lister, because are they sanitizing and fog? I'm guessing it's a fogger they're going to bring into the gym. Are they going to fog before we get in there, or is that something that they're not going to? So that's a question that I think Dave and I came up with as well. Like, are they cleaning before we go in there? Because that's an important factor. And then getting a responsible gym supervisor, Steph, that also is sanitizing all the basketballs at the end of the night. So when the next team comes in the next day, they're fresh, ready to go because they're sanitized and they can dry overnight and everything.
A suggestion that we could make as well, and I know it might accrue cost for some families, but for soccer, every child had to bring their own soccer ball. They had to have their own ball with them and labeled, and it causes some question on when you scrimmage. Maybe we have a scrimmage ball, one scrimmage ball. That way they don't have to sanitize a million different balls, but during the skills and drills, they use their own ball. And then for scrimmages, you have maybe 2 balls a night from the 2 scrimmages going on. That way it doesn't put extra time, but just a suggestion possibly.
Yeah, great suggestion. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't give you time to reply.
Go ahead, Bryn.
The other question I have, and you may have this already, but I foresee this being a question, is about air quality in the gyms. So if you have that preemptive, you may want to get that. We're asked that question a lot. What's the air handling return rate, et cetera? What type of filters do you use? Just so you have that standard indoor facility statement ready to go.
And one parent actually suggested, and I don't know, because if we want to do this, but do we want to mandate they wear masks while they play, being indoors? I believe all the volleyball players are wearing masks while they're playing. Mm-hmm. So that's something we can think about.
Yeah. And Greg, I think you can pause on that, making a decision on that. I think that a lot of teams are debating that as we speak. And I think there's going to be a general consensus that pops up that might make it that you don't have to make that decision yourselves. You want to do what everyone else is doing, standardize. And then on top of that, I don't know if you would want to do a check-in station too, where every kid gets their temperature taken before they go in. You guys do that for your other activities, I presume, where temp is taken, you're asked your standardized questions or have the SNAP ahead of time. What's it called? Health SNAP or
the health screenings. The health screenings are definitely important, and that's something that's going to always stay in.
Yeah.
The online health screening that you can fill out and they pull up, it saves so much time too. This UIFL is doing that. I can't remember. Are we doing that for the fall? Yeah,
we do. We have a Google one for every individual team with all the kids listed, and that way we can always timestamp it. And in case, one of the things that we did allow is if a parent, for instance, because we wanted to make sure that single parents that can't get their kids to practice have the opportunity, and that they're answering it, they can answer it ahead of time. So that's something that we did as well for our enrichment programs. It
worked really, really well. I thought, we switched to it midway through soccer, but it was a lot easier on the coaches and on the players. And it worked really well. I thought you guys did a good job.
And I do have to say, after 4 weeks or 5 weeks of doing Legos, the parents come in knowing the questions like, no. Yeah. Definitely do not travel. So they're getting used to it. And we have some great signs that we're going to bring inside that we have hung up around the parks as well. So people are aware of the health screenings going in and the questions. So we'll have that at all of our locations, no matter how many we have. We'll have to order many others if we have to.
And we're all learning as we go as well. One of the things that I would recommend we put in our preliminary contract that the families and the children sign is that if anyone in the family is awaiting results on a COVID test because they went to get one, please do not send your children or your families until you get those results. Because we had Seacoast United was, Jen knows our boys played for Seacoast, and they were shut down during a playoff period because two parents decided to send their kids, while they were waiting for their results, and the whole program got shut down. So we really need to make sure that they need to use their heads with this. Just because they haven't tested positive yet, if they felt strongly enough to go get a test or have anybody tested in their home, please don't send your kids to these programs. It's not right.
Per the state and the health officer, so we reviewed it with them. So any exposure, the state recommends that you don't get tested until 5 days minimum after. So someone that says, "Oh, I got exposed on Sunday and I'm going to go Monday," you could test negative, and then 5 days later you could test positive. So be patient if you get exposed. And you can't
test out of quarantine. You can't test out of quarantine.
Right.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Right. And people we just have to really, really hope and be really honest with each other. If there's ever a time to be honest with people, now's the time. It's rec sports. It's okay if they miss a week or two or whatnot, if they have to, for the betterment of everybody. No one's going to get signed for, the Lakers or anyone through rec sports. I can almost guarantee that. But they've just got to be community based and conscious and really respectful of the community in general as well.
I know, it's like lice. No one wants to admit that they've had exposure.
It's right. It's right. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Any other questions or comments? I think you guys have thought through this really well. Do we want to discuss as a board if that's the direction we want to go? I mean, we could even take a vote. We've got a quorum if we want to go skills, drills, and scrimmage. I think it's important with skills and drills, to Dave's point, that we let parents know. I think it's really important to have those scrimmages within the same groups and not just do skills and drills at this point, especially for, third through whatever other ages, up to whatever age we're going to. Yes, Mike.
Unmuting. I don't see a lot of difference between skills and drills and games, personally. I think it's about where we play our games and if we stay local. You have the same kids in the gym. I think it's more important that parents aren't spectating. I just want to say that.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. I think the only difference we run into there is that we're having a different exposure for different kids meeting up as opposed to being with the same kids. So contact tracing becomes a little more difficult, but I see what you're saying as well.
I guess someone would have to explain the difference to me. If you have the same group of kids going to play games or skills and drills, and we're saying skills and drills are going to involve scrimmages, I guess I don't get the difference.
The difference would be that a team that you're doing skills and drills with would be probably about 15 to 16 kids that you get as part of your team, as opposed to getting maybe 9 kids or 8 kids as part of your actual team. So those 15 kids would stay together. They'd skills and drills together. You'd split that same group of kids up and they'd scrimmage each other. Whereas when you've got 2 other groups that are practicing with 2 other groups of kids, and then you're rotating on who plays who, you're getting all those different kids that are mixing together, as opposed to those 15 that are coming together and you're splitting and staying together. Does that make sense?
Not really. I mean, aren't the kids in the gym all in the gym?
Like, I think you're scrimmaging against your own team.
Your own team.
You're not scrimmaging against other teams. You're just making larger teams and you're scrimmaging against yourself, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, the other
Jen
thing
explains it to me. Jen has to dumb it down for me to understand.
Stop that right
now. Thank you, Jen. No, that's exactly it. That's the difference there. Melissa, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, Jen beat me to it. So the other piece of that too is that if there's exposure on one team, only one team gets shut down. If there's an exposure on one team and they've played another team, now 2 teams get get shut down. So by keeping those, let's say 15 kids, because like Steph said and Jen said, we're making the teams bigger, so there's enough people to scrimmage. You're shutting that exposure down to just within yourself of those 15, 18 kids, whatever that large pod is. But you guys already got there. Sorry.
Or more than those two teams, possibly. It could be, depending on how many teams played who that week. And then it could come down to the whole league being shut down.
Yeah. And we're going to have to look at how many teams play per night, whether it's one team in the gym per hour. That's another thing that we talked a little bit about. So we would be really trying to minimize the risk to how many people are in the gym at once.
Anybody have anything?
Steph, I just had a point that was related more to the requirement to get a COVID test.
Sure.
So I teach a course at University of New Hampshire, and just going on campus every week means that I'm actually required to get a weekly test. And I know that all of the students, before coming onto campus at all in the fall, were required to actually do two things. So UNH took a twofold approach. This is just a suggestion. I am not an attorney, and this is in no way legal advice. But the first document that the students were required to sign was an informed consent document, which essentially just laid out what UNH's protocols are and what UNH expects of the students. And if the students don't comply, there will be disciplinary action. Essentially, the students will just be asked to leave campus. And then the second document the students were required to sign was a waiver of liability form. Mm-hmm. And this is if Greg, if you're going to go approach Rustine and the town's council about the informed consent document, it might be worth asking about the waiver of liability document. Something that to the effect of, if the Parks and Recs department is doing everything they possibly can do, but there still is an outbreak, essentially we wouldn't be liable. That could be too controversial. And
we do have that, actually. We have that in place, thankfully. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Right.
So you're on the right track here, Connor. I like it.
Okay. Connor, that was my only suggestion.
Yeah,
we actually also, David developed a parent's manual for each individual activity in the fall that we asked at the moment of registration. Have you read this and agreed to the modifications? And we toggle it that they said when they say yes, we registered them, and that actually came back to protect us on a couple incidents, because someone's like, well, I didn't understand you. We weren't playing games. You answered yes to the question that we were just doing skills and drills. So we would do a similar thing where we would outline, and to Mike's point, we put in there will be no spectators. This is skills and drills, and the kids are going to come in. The only adults allowed in there are the gym supervisor and the coaches. That's it. So that could be an opportunity where we get people to really step up and volunteer, or they realize that maybe they don't want to do this.
So, Greg, would we be able to keep the cost down a little bit more for people if we do skills and drills and scrimmages where we don't essentially need uniforms? I mean, I think we'd have to figure out some way to, I know we can get pennies for pretty cheap, but I think there's some way that people would have to have their own pennies that they bring. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we can be sharing pennies and things like that. But is there a way for us to keep the cost down more doing skills, drills, and scrimmages rather than games? Because we don't have referees either or anything.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought of on my drive home was just that stuff where it's not an actual uniform they get. It's just we can get a very inexpensive penny that they can bring with them every day. It doesn't need to flip inside or out because it's just scrimmaging. And so everyone bring their penny. And depending on what team you're on, you either put the penny, keep the penny on, or you take it off and put it with your ball.
Right.
So, it's definitely something, because our uniforms are pretty nice. So there's no reason to I think if we're not playing games, there's no reason to actually have numbers, because that's the big thing. Parents only want uniforms with numbers on them so they can point to their kid like, number 16 is my boy. So yeah, that's something I thought of as well, especially after I did the math with Melissa and like, ooh, $45 just in cleaning costs.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. So,
because I mean, our typically last season, if I remember correctly, it was $110. So correct? I mean, from
travel, yes.
And
yep.
So that would be, I mean, we're looking at $155 for a rec. That's a lot for some people.
And not for skills and drills. That we did have a $155 before for when we were in Lamprey because of the fees and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's skills and drills, we cannot offer that. So yeah, we're going to be delving down even lower and figuring out how to keep this somewhat affordable. Knowing that, yeah, we don't need actual game uniforms this year.
Awesome. Connor, did you have something else? No? I thought I saw
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute myself.
Oh, that's okay.
If we can, with skills and drills too, if there's more players on a team, we may have less teams. And if it's one team a night, let's just say, that could reduce the cleaning costs if we have less teams, so less. And then also if we can get rid of Saturdays, I don't know if we'd be able to do it. It all depends on how many teams we have and how many locations. But Saturdays, we also have to pay overtime for staff at the schools. So if there's a chance we can limit Saturdays, that's another way to reduce costs as well.
That's great. And I know it's a really good way to keep parents happy too. Have their Saturdays back for once. Sports parents reunite right there. I think these are all really well thought out ideas. Do we want to take a vote on whether we want to keep skills and drills, whether we want to go games? How do we want to do this to move forward so that you guys can go to the select board and have that conversation and start to get situated and aligned?
Steph, should we wait until the closing date of the survey that has gone out before
we can.
Voting?
Yeah, I mean, we can. It looks like from the numbers, I mean, I know there's more going out there, but it looks like, I mean, we're looking at like 70 to 80% of people that on both levels of wanting to play for skills and drills or games. It looks like there's a solid interest in, and that was what, 117 responses so far?
You're on mute, Dave.
All right, there we go. 114 responses.
When's the deadline on that?
I think it's Sunday or Saturday,
okay.
Right? I think it was
Sunday. Yeah, the first.
So in order to pull this
can I respond to the survey first? I'm just joking.
Get on them. I haven't either. I'm totally being honest. I haven't either. I didn't even know it came through. So, but I think, when do you guys need to get to the select board and start arranging things and making things happen to get things pulled together successfully and within a timely manner?
It would be great if we could make a vote tonight so we can go and put a memo in for November 9th so we can start the registration process and not feel rushed. The one thing with COVID, we've all three of us have been going gray is the small timetable to turn around the programs. So for us, the more time we would have, the better. And then it also gives us enough time to make a informed decision if the numbers keep rising in Rockingham County.
Okay.
To be serious and go back to Dave's point, it sounds like the skills and drills is the leader in the clubhouse of the survey.
Let me actually go right back to it. Sorry, I was just emailing you all the survey link. Let's see here.
While you look that up, Dave, we can, I mean, could our motion be generic? Like, when all the survey results come in and based on the survey results, we recommend the rec department move forward. You know, we don't maybe have to have it so specific that it also locks them into a decision.
And I agree. I was kind of confused onto what we were voting for, if we were voting skills and drills or if we were voting out travel or if we were I guess maybe that's I was looking for more clarification also.
I think we were voting to move something forward for Greg, Melissa, and Dave to be able to go to the select board to say this is what we've decided we're going to do for winter basketball. And we're just waiting to see what the rest of the survey results come in like, or by then you'll have the rest of the survey results coming in to show the interest.
Let's let Dave bring it up, because I think Greg was saying November 9th is a select board meeting, I believe. And that's coming right up. And if it's overwhelming response so far,
the trend
as one who has not responded, I can't believe that the response outstanding is going to turn it around a lot.
I agree with that. So skills and drills was 70.2.
So this is really the big question: is what's your family looking for? And it's actually most are looking for the traditional in-house games. But this question, would they participate if it was only skills and drills?
Overwhelming.
Right. I mean, I think this goes to like in an ideal situation. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. But
yeah, I would have a hard time imagining that the select board is going to go for anything other than skills and drills, especially with schools opening back up, the number of cases rising, and community spread up. So if people are overwhelmingly saying that they will participate, I think that is the way to go. I think that you all can craft a motion that leaves some room for flexibility. Like if all of a sudden the survey numbers wildly increase and people say, no, they won't participate in skills and drills. Yes, they want traditional play. I think you can craft something tonight that says that, and we can certainly take a look at whatever the survey results end up being. But Mike, I agree. This is probably a pretty good number of people that you're going to get to respond to this. But I would have a hard time voting for anything that is not very limited.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't think we're going to be getting many more responses. This is usually with surveys, we get majority of the responses within the first couple of days. Mm-hmm. And then to Melissa's point, that just in speaking with her and Greg, she made a good point. Why would we go to something else after doing skills and drills when we were playing outside? Now we're moving inside. Why would we expose more kids to more families? And so I just thought it was a good point.
And it's worked. It hasn't been ideal, but it's worked really well from what we've seen in the sports that are doing it right now. It's not ideal. Nothing is right now. And obviously we'd love to be doing travel and playing with the teams that we can play with. But I think that this is an option that keeps it for kind of a longevity through the season. This is the option that will maybe sustain basketball longer through the season rather than having a program shut down. The risk is a lot higher of having it shut down. I'd rather see the kids playing and see them, getting some exercise, especially where they're going to be more inside in the winter too. I'd hate to see it get shut down because of exposure and we think about this too. I mean, a lot of our families as well, might include it, are skiers, and people are going to be at the ski mountains on the weekends and then come back to basketball during the week. And had they been at a resort with people from 10 different states that brought 10 different things in, and then they come to basketball, the risk is certainly going to increase through the winter on us. Question that I had is, and this is very unlikely that it probably will happen, but should it get to a point where cases escalate to the point that the program needs to pull back, are we full reimbursement or how would that work for families that they're concerned about? If the program gets pulled, do they get reimbursed, or how will that work?
We would have to probably prorate it depending on if it's halfway through the season, we can't give a full reimbursement. There's some expenses that have been gone out. So we'd have to, if we figure in a cost of a penny of $5, and then whatever we've spent so far on cleaning and that, hopefully we don't get to that point, but yeah, it would have to be a prorated. It couldn't be a full refund.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I don't see us getting to that point, but just in case, it's a question to have prepared in case it happens. Because we're in the world of in case right now, unfortunately. Everything we do has to be under in case scopes. So I think you guys have done a really good job putting this together. Why don't we, I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to put a motion together on, approving basketball skills and drills for 2021 basketball season. With scrimmages, or approve Greg and Melissa bringing this to the select board for approval or discussion. I don't know if anybody wants to make that motion.
I'd like to make a motion, but it's too vague to me. Skills and drills with scrimmages within the same team?
Yes.
I'm not sure how to define that.
I actually am leaning the other way, Mike. I would like to keep it more vague and empower the rec department to execute the program the best way they see fit based on the information they have at the time.
I agree, Bren, but I don't know how to make a motion to that effect.
I think a simple motion of you support the Parks and Rec, us going forward to the select board with a skills and drills proposal as similar to the fall.
Skills, drills, and same team scrimmage.
Yep.
I would make a motion that we allow the rec department to go to the select board to provide a basketball skills and drills program as events allow.
That's a good one. We need a second.
I second.
Thanks, Val. Thank you, Mike. So all those in favor of moving this forward with Greg, skills and drills as things progress, do you want to read? Could you read that back to us, Joanna?
Mr. Whistler moved to allow the rec department to go to the select board to provide a basketball skills and drills program as events allow.
Do we want to add with scrimmaging, same team scrimmaging into that motion, or leave it?
I would leave it, Steph, because when we present to the select board, we'll have that all detailed out.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So all those in favor, I'll go individually for a vote. Yay or nay, Mike?
Yay.
Connor?
Yay.
Dan?
Yay.
Bren?
Yay.
Jen?
Yay.
And Val?
Yay.
Excellent. So motion passes unanimously. So Greg will go to the select board on November 9th and have that discussion. And then we'll have the ability, this will work out well because we'll have the ability in our next meeting to be able to kind of go over some of the details with you. And if we need to tweak anything or streamline anything, I think the timing will work out well. And you probably have some cost parameters at that point in time for pennies, et cetera, correct?
Yep.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, great. I really appreciate that, guys. So that motion passes unanimously. Any other discussion on basketball or winter sports or anything?
Well, winter programming, this is going to be the David Tovey show because he has two different programs to talk about. And I'll let him deal with those. It's skiing and esports.
Awesome. All right. Go for it, Dave.
All right. So we had a call today with esports. It was with Mission Control. And what they do basically is organize. They do all the scheduling, officiating, basically kind of what we do for youth sports when it's in person. But esports requires a lot of knowledge on the different games that kids are playing these days. I'm not a big video gamer. So this is a company that could provide a service for us to help, initiate these games and kind of monitor them, resolve any disputes that may happen. So basically, what we're looking to do is start an esports league, and we had other rec departments throughout Rockingham County. Everyone in the rec department seems to be interested. So we're just looking at different companies to see, what's the best bang for our buck. What we'd like to do is start an esports league, for a few reasons. Inclusion, I think, is one of them. Not everyone plays basketball or goes skiing. It's something that people can do in the comfort of their own home. So again, it's safe with COVID and everything going on. But some people, that's really just kind of what they enjoy to do. I have some friends that love playing video games. One of them was actually a professional video game player. So what better time not to try and tap into this, because it's something that isn't going away right now. So we have another call on Thursday with a different company, just to see, what they have to offer and compare. But it was really interesting. I mean, everyone that has kids knows that, Fortnite and Madden and FIFA, these are all very, very popular games. And Connor, you would know at UNH that they're even giving scholarships at some of these universities. I think SNU is doing it now. And,
yeah, I heard that too.
And so it was really interesting, really informative just to hear about everything going on in like the esports industry. So we're really excited to have this other call on Thursday and kind of compare. It's not free for sure, but the idea of the other rec departments, all of us joining together and maybe being able to split the costs and get as many players as possible, because this isn't going to be fun for kids if I join a league and there's 3 other kids and we have a 10, 12, 15 week schedule. So I'm playing the same 2-3 other kids, every 4 weeks or so. So we're going to try and get that rolling for sure. That, I guess, is the gist of it. Does anyone have any questions on it? I know esports is something new to all of us, but
yeah, I thought I was feeling really old feeling that. I don't know if anybody else is. So can you explain a little bit of how, I know with the esports, is this like a Wii active esports, or is this like an esports like my kids are playing, like my son plays Madden or plays whatever, and they're on teams? How does that, and do we set it up through the rec, or do they register separately but use the rec link? How does that work?
So they would register with us to get a specific code, and they would download, if we went with Mission Control, they would then get a specific code from us, and it's an app on your phone, which is this, I guess, scheduling app. So I would go in and put the code in, and Exeter Parks and Rec or the Seacoast Esports New Hampshire League would pop up. And normally they have several games to offer. Greg and I were talking a little bit about it. It'd be kind of cool to have during season. So, in the spring we would do MLB The Show. And so you pick whatever games you'd like. And some you can do teams, like you and a couple other friends could be on the same team. But for the most part, these are kind of individualized games. So, Fortnite is like just you playing other people. But even the sports games, it's you playing someone else who's controlling another team. So, and you would register again through Mission Control. So, if registering with us, there wouldn't be a cost, but we're just doing that, on the back end, so we know who's in our leagues. And then they would register with Mission Control. They take a small fee, for their administrative fees and stuff like that.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
One is, are the teams going to be controlled through Parks and Rec? Because as a parent, I know that I'm really very well aware and conscious of who my kids are online playing with. Are these teams going to be like an Exeter team of Exeter Parks and Rec where these kids know who they're playing with? Or are they going to be integrated with other kids from other teams? Because that concerns me. I'm a little, I'm really conscious about who my kids are online with, especially nowadays. So I'm just curious from a safety standpoint, and from a monitoring standpoint, are they going to be Exeter kids together? And secondly, to do something like an e-sport, and I don't know if you know this yet, how much would that cost a child or a family to do that? Those are my two questions.
Sure. So to answer your second question, the fee I think was like $15 or $20 per league. So, that would be like a 10, 15 week league for about $15. So the pricing really isn't too bad. And then that was a big question today that we had, can we ensure that who's monitoring, like there is a chat monitoring. So, all discussions we have access to. We have the capability of, banning a player if for whatever reason may be. There were and Greg, help me out because I know you're on the call, but there were ways to put in parameters like you need to be between these ages and live in this area. But I don't believe Mission Control has the capabilities to double check that. It's more of like an honor system. But I will say if a kid is, hopping online, they're going to be playing people like across the world. So you really have no idea who they're going to be playing. Whereas if they're joining a Seacoast league, it's just going to be like Seacoast players. Cause again, they have to register through their rec department, get a code. Like people can't just hop into our league. But now Fortnite, that's a game where they will be playing people, wherever across the globe. But if we say we just do Madden, then we know it's one player in his team or her team and then another player in their team. So that's, I think, a little bit easier to go what you were hinting at is, parents want to know who their kid's talking to, like who they're playing. So with sports, I think that's much, much easier to ensure that they're going to be playing a kid, and they may not be an Exeter kid. They may be a Durham kid or a Northampton kid, whatever other rec departments end up, doing this. If we decide to do this, then
So it would only be rec kids.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the one thing, Steph, we definitely debated is like, this is ensuring that if a parent hasn't ventured in their toes and letting their kids play online, they can assure going in our league that they're 12-year-old or 13-year-olds playing an actual 13-year-old, not a 45-year-old person trying to intimidate or impersonate a 12-year-old. So that's why I think this is actually a safer opportunity for us. And just to give a little fact, like in 2019, the 5 most highest selling nights at the Barclays Center were esports tournaments. They sold out 5 nights in a row, the Barclays Center. That's like Billy Joel-esque, where he's selling out 10 shows in a row. So it's definitely a popular thing. And I think using these platforms where the rec department is monitoring who's registering and that they're getting a unique code that only our players are going to get and keeping it youth. And that's something I think we all talked about, like, well, Call of Duty was a game that we've all agreed that no, we're not doing any type of shooting games. So it's going to be sports, or Mario Kart is one of the big ones, which I would love to join an adult esports with Mario Kart because I'm pretty good and I beat my daughter all the time.
Well, and that's the other thing I was going to say, Greg, is we're talking about youth, but this could be an adult thing too. Mm-hmm. It's not just meant for kids. This could be an avenue into another adult activity for the rec department. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Yeah, that's something we brought up as well. Or those that are now in the COVID world, just graduated from college. They want to do something, but they don't feel comfortable going out. This could be an opportunity where Dave has friends that was a professional gamer. So this is an opportunity for all demographics. And please, if they had a esports Pac-Man, I think all of us should sign up as the rec advisory board.
Donkey Kong, man. Mike.
I'm the old fogey on the board, and I was going to be against this, but I'm not out of hand. Of course, if I was going to play a game, it'd be pinball. But so this would be signed up through the rec league, the rec department, and we would know who the kids are playing with, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I think it's great because my kids are playing anyway.
Right.
And we would actually incentivize, like, I know anyone that has their teenage kids or their kids play sport, like the there's tournaments out there that you can win money. So we talked about incentivizing like the Seacoast League. It's a $50 gift card to GameStop, the winner, instead of giving out a trophy, because it's all individual. And now that kid can brag. And I joked, I envisioned them like, oh, we could sell out Exeter High School and have the championship there on the big screen or something. So it's something I think definitely we monitor, and all of the rec departments, as Bryn knows, we all talk. And if we're all in this together, I think that's one thing we're going to make sure it is a clean, healthy environment. And having a platform like Mission Control or GG, which is the one we have on Thursday, they're watching these games and they're recording these games. So if there's a problem, they can go back and like, whoa, wait, what was that in the chat? Like, no, that's inappropriate. We can do the kibosh. And like Dave said, we can kick someone out. It's like, sorry, we have the same code of conduct that we have as in sports that we're doing online.
Are they doing the chats, like the type chats, or are they doing the conversation chats? Both?
You know what, Dave? Did they even talk about that? I don't think they did.
I'm going to make a guess that it's voice talk. But I want to say that there was other avenues of communication too, like not just on a mic while you're playing a game. You can through the app message someone, like they will get alerts. Oh, you have a game tomorrow. You have a game in an hour. If I can't make the game, and I know I would know who I'm playing, I can message them and say, can we do this in an hour? Can we make it up tomorrow? And then they can actually reschedule their own games just by doing that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely heard them talk about there's the message element of it, but it's a monitored message. So not in real time monitoring, but if you or as a parent had a concern, they could go back and view those chats and view that activity.
So the parents are able to potentially, and this isn't me, like I trust my kids until they give me a reason not to, but I would like to know, like, can some parents, if they need to, or if they have younger kids that are jumping on there, are they able to monitor the chats themselves as well, or just Mission Control? Are they the only ones able to monitor those chats?
That would be us and or Mission Control.
We would have access to those stuff. So.
Okay.
I'm just going to jump in here.
Yes, I saw the waving, Miss Molly. Go ahead.
So first of all, I think that this is a really good idea. I think, there are a lot of parents who are probably not comfortable with their kids doing much socializing at all, and this would be a way to connect. I had a question. It sounds like there's no actual monitoring while the game is being played. It's just the ability to go back and see if there's a complaint. If you could verify that, that I think that would be good information to have. And then I have another question about signing up. Does that mean that you have to own the game already, or you get access with the $15 to the game and then you can play it through Parks and Rec or a program or whatever?
You have to have the platform, so an Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, and you have to own the game.
Got it. Okay, so there's a lot of other additional built-in costs.
Right.
Correct.
Above the $15. Okay, that's good to know.
That's a good question, Molly. Thank you. I didn't think of that one.
And it goes back to really, if the kids are already playing it or have it, those are most likely the ones that are going to sign up for it, especially. And if we have a large contingency of people in Exeter, we could definitely do an in-house league and then one in, but we want to start slow. We want to make sure it's a quality product. And again, if we only have 5 kids from Exeter sign up, it's not going to be fun for them.
I have other questions about, I'm just sort of thinking through what equity looks like in this sort of program, because there are all of these game consoles that I imagine people age out of and, they want to donate, or they've moved on to the newest thing and they're not interested. And then I'm not qualified to talk about this at all, so I'll just ask some questions and hopefully you can get some answers. Like, is it something that if we could, find a donor who could buy a bunch of games and bring them to the library, and if somebody wanted to play, they could check that out of the library, something like that, to make sure that everybody's having access if they want it. And I don't know that this is something that I would advocate for right now. I think we'd have to establish if there's interest, if there's enough interest, and then we can sort of go down this this line, but I don't want to, put in place a really exciting new program and then be like, just kidding, all of you people who don't have access to all of this technology, we're leaving you right out.
Great points.
So just questions, things to think about. I don't know that solving or answering those questions necessarily precludes starting a pilot program. But if we're going to implement something like this, I don't want the barrier, the floor to be able to participate is the purchase of, $400 worth of equipment.
Right. And one of our mission statements is inclusion. That's right. A big one. So we've got to make sure that it can be inclusive.
But as a mom who is very reluctant to let her kids do anything right now, this is definitely something that I would be very interested in. And I know my kids would be very interested in too.
I think mine would too.
Well, and you can also think long term about this type of thing in the sense that it could lead to in-person contact too. So you have now like an online league, let's just say, and then down the road, the rec facilitates an end of the season party or something. I mean, think outside of COVID, and this can lead to social interaction and it can lead to community building and kind of meeting kids and adults and all people where they're at. And many are already, regardless of COVID, at home gaming. And so it's meeting these people there and then potentially getting them into the community or into the rec or into a program that they might not have normally gone to because we met them at their safe place and then we brought them into the fold.
That's a great point. That sounds awesome, Dave. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's definitely stepping in a direction that I don't think I know Parks and Rec has never really stepped into. So I think this is really innovative as well. And I like that you guys are working with surrounding Parks and Rec too. I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I was just going to say to Greg's point, some of the rec departments on the western side of the state and up north are looking to join this other league that we have a call with on Thursday. So, if we're all in the same league together, like how cool would it be to be able to say like, I'm the state of New Hampshire, like Madden champion or something. Like it is, a cool thing because there's tournaments now and you may hear of a kid here and there actually winning some money, which, it happens. But I mean, the chances of that, it's just like, going pro with any other sport. So I think it kind of like brings it down on a smaller scale and gives, those kids that don't really play, physical sports, something to look forward to. But it does bring up the dilemma that some of us rec professionals have is should we be encouraging people to sit down and, stare at a monitor for hours?
Well, it doesn't mean it's not recreation, though, because for some people that is recreation. So it does fall into that window if that's not all we're doing. It's just you're branching out and looking at what people's definition of recreation are. I mean, some kids are not the athletic kids. And yes, we want them to be active as well and healthy. But for those kids that aren't athletic, are they interacting with people? So this is an interaction. So this is more a mental health issue, which so many are going to struggle with and struggling with right now. So I don't think you're getting out of that, though.
I never thought I'd say this. I think it's a good idea. Kids are online anyway.
Yeah.
Mike has twice said he thinks this is a good idea. Which blows my mind that I'm even saying this.
Quick meeting.
But,
Joanna, did you get that? That's twice Mike has said that's a good idea.
Because I don't think it fits with our mission. I think our mission is outside, but I think our kids are already inside and they have to be inside.
I think our mission has also had to, even though it's the same thought process, I think that it's had to tweak a little bit given the environment and what's going on right now. I mean, we did our mission prior to March of 2020. I think a lot has changed.
No, I agree.
Sorry, Mike. I think it's good. And go ahead, Molly. I think that they're not mutually exclusive. I don't think it's, kids who like sports and kids who like video games. I think kids like all of the stuff. Like, I have 2 athletic kids who also really like their video games. And I think that, just because you play sports doesn't mean you also don't play video games, and vice versa. So I think that it's a way to, and I understand the dilemma here. And sorry, I keep taking myself on and off video because I'm eating dinner because it's been a year. Huh? Like, let's just acknowledge it. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is, and this has a multi-generational appeal, like Bryn was talking about. And it can, sort of lead to mentorship and eventually when we're not in a pandemic, there can be more console playing or, I know I'm using all the wrong words, but like, people can be in person together. And I think that this makes connection. And I think that is ultimately the rec park's mission, the rec board's mission.
I will coach basketball. I will not coach video games because I have no idea.
I'm with you, Mike.
No.
Any other questions or comments for Dave on this one before you move to skiing? All right, that sounds awesome. Thanks for all your legwork, Dave. On to skiing, sir.
Yeah, so this one's quick and easy. We just opened up registration today. We're going to be partnering with Gunstock's outreach program, which they only offer to schools and rec departments. They are discounted season passes. There's 2 options for the passes. The big change this year, though, is at Gunstock, the lodge is only open to people who need rentals, use the bathroom, or purchase food. So we need to make that very clear. And it's on our flyers and stuff that parents can't, go up while their son or daughter is getting a lesson and just sit and wait in the lodge. So I think that's a huge change for sure. And, I want to make sure parents are aware of that. We're also not providing transportation as we did last year in our van for those older kids. But other than that, everything's really about the same with that. It's a really good deal for families that are looking to get passes or just starting out, learn to ski. Included in your passes are 4 scheduled lesson dates. It's about it.
What's the cost on those, Dave?
So there's a midweek pass, which is for $169, or a prime pass, so it has no blackout dates, and that's for $299. But the midweek pass is still a great steal because with that pass, you get half off blackout dates, which are weekends and holidays. So for $170 to go up and ski and get half off on weekends and some lessons and rentals included in those lessons. Parents can also have access to these flex passes, which will get them half off ski passes and rentals. So it's a really great deal. And especially now with COVID being outside, it's one of the only few things you can do in the winter. Gunstock is seeing a lot of new rec departments joining for this year.
And for those, for the midweek and the no blackout, with the lessons, the rentals are included in those?
For your 4 lessons, the rentals are included if you need them.
And it's full day pass, correct?
So it's a season pass, so you can go, whenever you want. If you purchased one tomorrow, you can go when they open and start using it all season long.
And to give you an example, all right, for instance, a youth, if they wanted to do a winter prime pass at Gunstock, it's $409 for the season. So you're saving a substantial amount of money going through the rec department. And adults, it's $699 or $669 per season pass. So you're talking family of 4 could save almost $1,000 if you really break it down like that.
Are these season passes for just youth, or for they for family too? So
the outreach program are for students ages 6 through 19, but each child their parents will have 2 flex passes. So they purchase those for $29. And then what that does is that gets them half off rentals, passes, lessons as well. So if they want to go a few times and ski with their kid, that's a great option. Like Greg said, you don't have to buy a season pass or even day passes for that matter, because you're getting half off a day pass.
And one last question to you as well. If the family does that, does the parent or can the parent or guardian, that doesn't apply to 50% off the season pass there, does it? So if you're doing 50% discount, would it be 50% off the season pass or just the individual passes?
It's just day passes, the half off, for the parents.
Still a good deal, but
I know, half off a season pass, that'd be a real good deal.
Well, as I was saying, I'm like thinking about myself. I could definitely budget that one in for sure.
And then one thing too with Gunstock, as opposed to a lot of other mountains too, is they're not taking reservations as well. I have no idea what this season's going to be like. I'm a big snowboarder and I haven't bought a pass yet because I have no idea what it's going to look like. It may not be worth it.
Yeah.
Dave, is it for Exeter residents only to be able to access this program?
It's open to everyone, although I know, for instance, Durham, they don't border us, but they are also in the outreach program as well. So just like how we've done it with basketball, if someone from, say, Durham registered with us, I think on the honor system, we would probably say, your town's rec department is offering this as well. You may want to register through them. So we're not like stealing people from them.
I have some ski comments. Someone who worked in the ski industry for 11 years. First of all, this is a great deal at Gunstock. And to follow up on what Dave said, Gunstock is not alone in that your car is going to be your locker room and your restaurant. That's the way it's going to be in the ski business. I think those are great deals. And one thing I would ask of this board, I would ask that we put on our Facebook and our social media to donate cross-country skis, boots, poles, kids, adults, everybody who's got them, bring them in, because it's an easy thing to do outside, and it's going to be outside soon. It's going to be cold. Hopefully it snows. But we were talking around some of our friends here, what are we going to do this winter? Well, that's one thing we can do, and it's easy to do, but you need gear. And I think that's something we can do as a rec board, just say, hey, if you have cross-country skis in your garage and boots and poles you haven't used in forever, bring them out.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a great point, Mike, because the cost of the pass is reasonable, but the gear becomes expensive unless you go to Golf and Ski or whatever for that $99 package. But
I'm talking cross-country skiing you can do in your yard. You can do it with golf course. You can do it around the rec park. Hopefully it'll snow.
Oh, don't push it yet. We're supposed to get it Friday, right? Not ready yet. That's awesome. Thank you, Dave. It sounds like a good program this year. Really, really happy that pulled through with all of the differences. Any other questions on skiing, the ski program before we move on? All right. Thank you so much, Dave. We really appreciate it. Moving on to project updates. Gale Park walkway renovation.
Yeah, sorry. I'm on my iPad. Let me see if I can actually. All right. Photos. All right. To give you, this is done. Let's see. That's Gale Park now, or before we started doing anything. So to give everyone an update, the select board authorized us to use some of the park improvement funds. This walkway down the middle, as you see, it's grown in pea stone and everything. All right, stop sharing. Sorry, I'm just going here and then photos again. And this is, they just started last Wednesday. It should be completed by next Wednesday. So that is so far. So they've dug down 6 inches. We put a crust gravel base. We've reset all the pavers. And you'll see this is a common theme around the whole entire monument, and this is a better picture. So as you can see, it's now outlining all the individual to the benches. So that will be on top of this, a stabilized stone dust.
We can't see it now,
Sorry.
Greg.
Sorry,
Oh, there we go. Oh, that looks great.
So stabilized stone dust will go up to the top, and it will be outstanding. It has the look of stone dust with a organic binder in it, which will make it almost as hard as concrete. So it'll give us the elegant look of the park should. I didn't take the other picture of the other side of the monument because that's where they're doing they're parking most of their equipment. So they haven't done the path that you see on the top left. They haven't done that path on the opposite side. So when it's all said and done, and it will look pretty for Veterans Day, so it'll be ready to go. But that is one of the things that we are proud of. So we got a good company that came in considerably less than all the other people that bid. And lastly, I think since we last met, we actually also finished the Gilman Pavilion. Here's the painting. And there we go. Wow. A nice, lovely shade of brown. If you notice, we didn't put any picnic tables there yet because of COVID, but next spring we'll have picnic tables and we'll do an official ribbon cutting with the select board when hopefully some parameters, we can be outside. We just didn't feel time was right, especially if we don't have the picnic tables in there to kind of finish it off. And nor do we want to even worry about maintaining and sanitizing those picnic tables. So it is completely done. It looks beautiful. This is going to be, I think, a big hit, especially for the rookie ball baseball kids. Next thing we got to work on is a playground there, and this field will be 100%, or this park will be 100% complete. Yes, Mike.
Did you see we got halfway across with the yellow fence topper?
I did notice that. I was going to email you of like, oh, they either it blew off or someone didn't finish it, but that is a great addition.
We're trying. We're trying to get it up there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our project updates. So
that looks fantastic.
We're doing great.
I was over there, Greg, and I think that pavilion is a big addition to our parks. I really do. Gilman Park's a underutilized park, and you can go over there and have a picnic or whatever. I think it's great.
Our goal is eventually start funneling more people towards there, especially as we know, the select board debated about the dogs. The Dog on Leash is a very popular spot. The trails, when they get reopened again, when PEA is opening up their campus, that will be good. But I think additional when we get a playground there and this pavilion, this is going to be the go-to spot for parents to either have summer, spring, fall birthday parties, all kinds of different things that can be done down there. And it's a great little location that's very quiet.
Thank you so much. That looks amazing. I love it all. If there are no other questions or discussion on that, let's move on to event update, the Halloween parade coming up on Saturday.
Well, I'm going to let Melissa describe everything because she's been the point person. And then she's been working endless hours doing floats and working with Dan and his student council, which is awesome to have them involved. But Melissa, I'll throw it to you.
So we're really excited. We're praying that the weather holds out. The one thing we just want to let everyone know is Friday, the weather is scheduled for some rain and snow. Let's all just keep our fingers crossed that it stays on Friday. So hoping that does that. We're going to have the antique fire truck and the police truck or the police car. And then we're going to have our rec pickup truck pulling a landscape trailer with a float. And then Dan's generous high school kids are doing another one. And I have to tell you, I love the concept of Dan's kids. They decided to be Zoom zombies, and they're doing like a classroom of zombies. Like I just thought that was the best idea. I love love that idea. I thought that was fantastic. Our float is just like scary graveyard haunted house type thing. And then on the antique fire truck, we're going A League of Their Own baseball theme. Steph's family graciously offered to fully dress up the whole family and be up on the antique fire truck. So that's really awesome for us. Yeah, so that's fantastic. We'll have some music out on the floats, and we did have to cut the route down. I don't want to say significantly. From people that watched the bunny parade, we did have to change the route. After talking about it and being the person that was the bunny up on the float, there were times we went really, really fast, and we are not going to be able to go really, really fast with floats. And so knowing that we need to keep it within 4 hours and we need to be done before trick-or-treating, and police and fire so graciously donated like 4 hours of overtime each, we really needed to keep it to 4 hours. So we did cut that down. We have that route out to police and fire for approval right now. And hopefully in the morning that will get put on Facebook and that kind of stuff. But, tell your friends, tell your family, definitely check the route out because it is different.
When's it going to be posted, Melissa?
Tomorrow morning. I have it out to police and fire right now.
Thank you.
Yep. And so, and we actually have a map this year, which is great. DBW Gen Mates helped me with that. So you'll be able to see that as well as kind of the process. But the plan is to start around 10:30. And leave from the Park and Rec department at Court Street and then end back at the Park and Rec department at Court Street. On Friday, David and the interns and I will be putting together our float and the antique fire truck. And what else? I think Val's family and Mike's family have offered. So those guys will be in the back of the Park and Rec pickup truck. Please dress warm. It's long and it will potentially be cold. So definitely dress warm. And nice. I love it. Make sure you have lots of layers.
Yeah.
Layers. I love it. I'm so excited. But it should be a lot of fun. I think people will really enjoy seeing, police, fire, Park and Rec. We're going to have the van in there. So just something to cheer everybody up and get them in good mood before they go out trick-or-treating or whatever their groups. There's going to be more main roads. So if you live in a neighborhood, you may need to walk to the end of your street and socially distance from anybody else to view the parade. It should still be, we're going enough places where there shouldn't be any crowding or anything like that. But one of the ways we were able to cut down on some of the time was to not drive through every neighborhood or maybe make a bigger loop around a neighborhood. So that should be going out tomorrow.
And one thing that Melissa and I talked, while I'm driving the truck with the trailer, she will be my co-pilot. And please follow us on Facebook. We're going to give live updates on Facebook of turning left on this road, turning right, so people can anticipate, so they don't have to sit out there for 4 hours shivering, waiting for us to get there. Follow us on Facebook. That way you can say, oh, they're only down the street. Let's go. And that way they can get out there. So hopefully that kind of answers a lot of people's questions. But if anyone's watching this and when the route gets let out and they want to see us go by, find a spot that is easily on High Street, Hampton Road, that you can watch us drive by. That's a good spot. And then you don't have to even worry about it. You can stay in your car. And especially we do pass Access Sports. Hint. So if someone wants to sit in their parking lot and stay warm, and that's early in the route, they can do that.
Awesome. Any questions?
That's all I got.
Will you also be posting the parade route on the town website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to go up there, Connor. We're going to put it right below Trick or Treat because we want to keep our safety recommendations straight out on top.
Great video, by the way.
I thought you would like that. We did have that PSA if anyone hasn't seen it. We got Cookie Monster, a Minion, and Buddy the Elf in there. The do's and don'ts of trick-or-treating. Connor, we definitely got to utilize it all. But anyone has questions, we're going to also email out the map through Constant Contact on Thursday. That way people can get in their email and say, hey, look, all right, let's plan to. Again, we have 4,000 people on our mailing list, so might as well try to get it out there.
That's awesome. Any other questions? Any old business to discuss? I think we've kind of...
Well, I just want to give an update. We did have 15 people apply. Val, is Val still with us? Sorry.
I don't see her. I think she fell off.
Yeah, Val family put in scarecrows. We have some scarecrows. We're going to be posting them on the website at the end of the week. On Friday, I'm going to be posting the pictures of those. They've been great scarecrows. And then we will be announcing something early in November with who we're going to award the best scarecrow to. And but everyone is a winner, really, because the effort they put in. There's a Girl Scout troop that did one that was phenomenal as well. So hopefully this is a tradition we can start building upon. And soon next year, in 3 years, we have hundreds of scarecrows all over Exeter. And it's a good tradition to have.
That's awesome. How about any new business? I think we've discussed all our new business. I'm not sure if there's anything else that we needed to touch on.
Nope.
Thank you for your time. As always, I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless there are any other questions.
I just have one quick thing.
Sure thing.
And I want to thank everybody on this committee for being a really bright spot in town government. You all have the well-being of our town and our rec parks and all of our programs in your hearts and at the forefront of your minds, and I really appreciate it. And it is my honor to serve with you on this committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Molly. It's our honor to have you serving with us. We're very lucky. We've got
I would like to add upon that. I would like to add upon that and say, everybody get out and vote a week from today.
Please do. Or get your tomorrow is the last day you can get out for absentee ballots, correct? To register, Molly?
Tomorrow is the last day that you can get your absentee ballot, but you should turn it in person because the Postal Service is saying that they can't guarantee delivery on time if you have not posted it today. Thanks, Mike. That's a great flag. Yes.
Everybody. And I voted in my car and immediately walked it right back into our town clerk in my community. So it's easily done. People get out and vote.
Yeah, they've been great. They've been great at town office too. So thank you. And thank you to Molly and the select board for volunteering to work, and all the volunteers for working the polls. I know that that's not an easy decision this year to make, to work it. You don't have a choice, Molly, but the others do that volunteered to work. And we're very appreciative because we know it takes an army to make those polls smoothly run. So thank you for putting your safety on the line for all of us.
Of course.
And Steph, one thing, I can't wait now that we have Connor on this committee to work with the communications committee more. I think we have a lot of information that comes out a lot, and working with them is going to be a symbiotic relationship, I think, because we can work and because, hey, we're the ones that make people smile in this town.
Agreed. Hang on to your seat, Connor, because the work is coming.
We're looking forward to it. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, guys. And we look forward to seeing you all on Saturday. Hopefully you're on the route and we can wave to y'all and say hello. So I will introduce...
Wait, Steph, a quick reminder for anyone watching that doesn't know, Trick or Treat is Saturday from 3 to 6. All our safety tips are online. Social distance, separate candy, don't have a big bowl, wear masks, but don't wear plastic masks over cloth masks. We don't want any kids passing out, and just be careful. It's a tough time, but this is something that the whole community can enjoy. And I'd love to see some costumes.
Also, one last thing before we adjourn as well. First and foremost, as Greg said, be safe out there, but also please, the recommendation is to trick or treat within your own neighborhoods if you have a neighborhood to trick or treat within. And secondly, please be incredibly respectful of people who are making the choice, and it's a difficult choice to turn off their lights this year. If their lights are off, it means that they're not participating in trick or treat. They just don't feel safe. So please be respectful of their decision, and a difficult one to do that. And that's my request to the town as well. And to have a wonderful, wonderful Halloween, because it is a fun night. Should be a fun night. On that note, I will entertain a motion. Dan moves to adjourn. A second, please.
Second.
Have an awesome week, guys. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Have a good one.